Hello and welcome to it's the first wrong end of the stick podcast of 2020.
It is, and it's also episode 38 in case you'd forgotten.
And yeah, episode 38, and it's a good thing you said that because I did. And it is with me, Zach Eaton, and of course Jonathan Nimmo.
Hello.
Welcome, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Well,
Happy New Year to everyone in cricket world.
Well, in cricket world, English cricket world anyway.
English cricket world is not so happy so far, but you know,
it is what it is. But a Happy New Year all the same.
Yes.
What we so you've got the plan of action.
I've got a bit of a plan.
What are we getting kicked off with?
Well, we're going to talk about the world of cricket and what's been going on. So that includes England, unfortunately. It also includes a brief stop in Australia and Pakistan.
Yep.
And then probably in-depth ripping apart of this current England team and what's going wrong and why.
Yes.
We're then going to talk about, we've got a bit of a topic, which is current in cricket at the moment.
This is new to me.
This is new to you.
You haven't told me what this is going to be about, so I'm looking forward.
Well, I did tell you yesterday, but you clearly forgotten.
I did.
That's you know, it's fresh.
It's fresh.
This is the way we go. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, and then we've got a very quick Whyyysssaat at the end.
Nice. Love a good Whyyysssaat.
And then
all the way at the end.
Yeah, all the way at the end. Tucked away, otherwise you lose interest. That's your problem. You lose interest in the rest of it. I'll lose you. You'll be gone. So yeah, and then potentially talk about what we're going to do next week, because we're actually back a week earlier than I thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
So this is not quite our anniversary.
No.
We've got our anniversary
whatever the 10th
next
is.
Friday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
A year. We've been doing this podcast for a year.
Yeah.
And it has flown by.
It has. It really has. So it's going to be, so we need to think of some stuff we're going to do for that.
Yep.
And we'll maybe think aloud and do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if you've got any ideas about what you want to see on our anniversary.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of a montage.
Until he realised he had to go through and get all the audio clips himself.
Yeah, that's it. That is a lot of work. And, yeah.
And effectively what you want now is to hire somebody to do all of this stuff for us, yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly what I said before.
If you're going to bankroll them, I'm there with you.
I'll give them a tenner and some curry sauce chips to do it, just for the one-off.
That's it, just one-off.
Just
that's
one-off.
Not like a weekly thing, it's just a one-off.
Well, the weekly thing, they can, you know maybe get the chips and a can of Coke every week.
Wow, there you are.
So
anybody wants a really terribly paid job that I'm pretty sure would contravene several labour laws, but if you want to, get in touch with us on Twitter. Wrong End Podcast.
Hold on, you can volunteer, and there'll be added benefits. Does that work?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Yeah. You whip up a quick job description.
Yeah, post it out there in the Twitter world and see what we come back with.
Dear. Right, shall we get into actual cricket talk?
Are we getting into England?
Well, let's take a brief detour by Australia and Pakistan first.
Cool.
So the Australia-New Zealand series has been ongoing. So I think we talked about the first series last time out. Mm-hmm. So that was a fairly dominant victory for Australia. They had the second test. It was also a fairly dominant win by Australia, win by 247 runs.
Blimey.
New Zealand collapsed twice, basically. They had, I think, one player in each innings who did okay, but apart from that, they were just really struggling, much the same way that England were. And Australia's relentlessly getting runs, whether it's Labuschagne or Smith or even Tim Head was getting runs, and when he's getting runs against it, it's not going well.
And the thing is, I mean, you compare Head, who's not up there with, in terms of the Australian team, but even in the Ashes, he's still doing quite a bit better than what our boys are. Well, some of our lads are doing at the moment. So, and like you say, Labuschagne, Smith. Yeah. It's So Australia looking scary, strong, to be honest. Looking scary at the moment. Also, so the Pakistan-Sri Lanka series. So this is the first series back in Pakistan since in like 10 years. Mm-hmm. So the first test was a draw, fairly evenly matched, but went out to a draw. The second test was a really interesting one because Pakistan had a fair collapse in the first innings. They only got 191, which is not great. Although England might take that the way they're headed at the moment. Yep. And Sri Lanka came out and got 270. I was at about an 80-plus run lead, so you
Sri Lanka, you're going to be really confident going in the second innings. Second innings, Pakistan got 555. That was crazy.
Blimey.
And blew them away to sort of get a big victory in the end. So that's,
well, fair enough.
Massive win for Pakistan, and they're up there in the Test Championship now. So England have slipped yet another place in the Test Championship after their loss in the first Test against South Africa. We'll get to more of that in a second.
Yep.
And if they lose the Test that has kicked off today, they will be down another place. South Africa will overtake them. It'll only be West Indies and Bangladesh underneath us at that point. So the way it's heading, we may well be heading for bottom of the World Test Championship.
Wow.
Which would be embarrassing given the finals are going to be at Lord's. It's yeah.
Okay.
But all my optimism before Christmas, where I was predicting a 3-1, that's gone completely. It's just I have no confidence in this England team.
Can we revisit those predictions? Do you have them to hand?
I do have them to hand. Yes. So I said it was going to be 3-1 England. I said we were going to lose the first Test and win the next 3.
Okay.
You said it was going to be 2-1 England. You saw a draw somewhere in there, but you thought England were going to win 2-1.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about the first Test?
Let's talk about the first Test.
First of all. So England, South Africa, first Test. England won the toss and put South Africa in to bat, which is questionable at the best of times.
Yeah.
It didn't start out terribly. We did take a few wickets, but then Quinton de Kock came in and got 95, and there was runs from Philander and other people, and basically they ended up with 284, which is not, when you put somebody into bat, that's not what you want. You're wanting them out for about 200, really, ideally. And then England came out to bat, and that's where, as so often it does, things started to go not great. Burns and Sibley were out cheaply. Then Denley got 50, credit to him where it's due, he got some runs. There you are, Joey, it's alright. Root got 29, and then Stokes 35, so there's a lot of sort of middling scores. Bairstow out for 1, again in pretty terrible form, continuing. Butler didn't really get anything. Sam Curran got 20, but then that's it, the last 3 got absolutely nothing. So that was 181 all out, so we were on the back foot, over 100 runs behind. South Africa got 272, which is again okay, it's fine. I mean, the South Africa team doesn't look great.
No.
England's bowling has been questioned about did they really have a plan. It seemed a bit all over the place, but and then we came out to bat again, and we did. I mean, it was a reasonable third innings total, 268, but we were never threatening to get close to them. And again, so stand out for Rory Burns did well with 84.
Yeah.
Root got to 48 before he went out again, and a few starts from others, but again, not a whole lot of runs anywhere. So all in all, a fairly flat performance from England. To be honest, it's not. It wasn't good.
No. We suspected the first one coming in.
We did, and there was all these issues with sickness and with the England team not being fit and not being ready, and like the sickness bug has been like running through the team and stuff. Literally, sorry for the terrible pun. I couldn't resist. But then, it's just for me. It's a bigger thing than just the sickness and poor preparation, and to be honest, that's been borne out in the test, the match that's got ongoing at the moment. England batting is just not, and I hesitate to say it's not good enough, because I don't think the players lack talent.
No,
I think the players lack the proper mentality that's needed.
I think if we think about the squads and the players, and over the past kind of 6-7 months, there's been a lot of changes. There's been people out due to injuries, which is still ongoing. There's been some issues with new coaches and captaincy. I think if you add that with, like saying, stuff like illness, probably a bit of tired, a bit tired over the winter period. Not that that's an excuse. Are the England team gelling as a team? Because you look at other teams, kind of India, Australia, they are
like a well-oiled machine, and everybody steps up and does their kind of role, to the best of their ability. We don't have someone where we can say he's our run scorer. These three batsmen are going to be putting in, because you just don't know. Yeah. You don't know if Burns, for some reason, after the Ashes, is now, our highest scoring batsman. As someone relatively new to cricket, I didn't know who he was before the Ashes. I was thinking more along the lines of, Root and, Bairstow, those well-known names to be doing it, but they're looking out of form.
Yeah.
All of these things compounded with playing away in South Africa, where the conditions is something that they're not used to over the winter period. I think, yes, we can make some excuses, but there is something, like you say, fundamentally wrong on the underneath, isn't there, going on? We haven't given this coach a lot of time to...
We haven't, and that's true, but what we have done is promoted a coach internally when things are going really quite badly. For the test team, things have not been right.
No.
We got away with drawing the Ashes, but that's not what you're aiming for, is it? And to be honest, that was only a draw because Ben Stokes played superhumanly.
That's true. I think if we're honest,
at least one game, if not more. So it's a real problem, and I think you're right. I think there's a bigger issue, and as I've said, I don't think it's a talent issue.
No.
Because if you look individually, Joe Root is a talented batsman. Ben Stokes is a talented batsman. We've got talent throughout the team, but trying to bring it together in a test format just is not working at all.
And it is. I think one of the big things at the moment is the batting, but like you say, I think it's an all round. It is an all round thing, and you're saying the bowling didn't have that much of a plan. You've got all of these talented players and individuals. You try and, like I say, the other teams, they're looking like a well-oiled machine. And if we look at the Ashes, yes, we drew. You're right. We know Australia were the better team, and we got carried by some heroic performances by some individuals, both on the bowling, batting, and fielding side of things. We need to. I don't know how you fix that. It's a difficult thing, isn't it? How do you fix such a problem? But
it is, and I don't know what the solution is, because it does seem to be a motivational mentality, a preparation thing somewhere in that. There is something fundamentally wrong with what's been done at this point.
Do you think a change of captain would help?
Yes, I do. But to who?
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else in that team that could do that job. But I don't think Joe Root is doing a good job at all in terms of the motivational aspect, and he's not leading the team. He doesn't seem to be leading the team, for me.
Yeah.
Is his batting suffering because of it? Maybe not. I think there's definitely an argument to be had there.
I've said it for a long time. I think Joe Root as a player and as an England batsman is a natural leader, but captain of this England squad is another thing. And I think you need a cat. He's a joker. He's got a boyish charm and charisma. He's got a swag and form about him when he plays, and that seems to have diminished. He doesn't look he hasn't got that eye of the tiger when he's up there, and that fight that he had playing against South Africa last year and doing that. There's a very gaunter, tired looking Root, and he hasn't, as far as we know, there's not been any injuries going on. He's been playing kind of good cricket since his captaincy. The longer he's been in this role, I feel like his form has been kind of reducing, and from what we hear, his kind of effect on the team, his jovialness and all of that kind of stuff back in previous to his new role, I think that has a better, more impactful effect on the team than him being in the role at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it just raises another question: who would you put in?
Do you know what's interesting? I've just been looking up some stats while you've been talking there, and there's only 2 players in 2019. There was only 2 players for England that averaged over 40, and that's generally speaking, or averaging 40 runs for every innings is generally speaking what you're looking for.
Yeah.
There's only 2, and one of those was Ollie Pope, who's only just in the team. He only played 4 innings. The other one was Ben Stokes, who averages 47. Joe Root was next on 36. Burns on 35. Denley on 31. And then of all people, Jack Leach. Jack Leach has a higher average in 2019 than Joss Butler, Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, King Jennings, all of these players. It's crazy. But that's not to say that there aren't talented batsmen in there. It's just, is it a preparation thing? Is it a mentality thing? Are they too much in the short form of the game? I don't know what it is, but I think there's something wrong. And I think, and I'd love to see a change of captain, actually, to release Joe Root a little bit, get him focused on his batting. But I don't see who else you could give it to. I would hate to give it to Ben Stokes, because
I wouldn't want the same thing to happen to him.
No, exactly. And he already bats, he already bowls. Give him captaincy on the top of that, and that's, I don't know, I think it's too much of a burden.
Again, I think Ben Stokes, he leads the charge. He's a leader, just like Joe Root and some of the other players in there. But a captain is something else. A captain is going to be looking at bridging those gaps that we're talking about, and we're asking those questions. Is it a mentality thing? Is it a preparation thing? Is it the kind of coaching? And all of those things are something that the captain needs to kind of take on. It's not about leading the charge and doing some, swashbuckling displays of batsmanship, or some dynamic kind of fielding and aggressive bowling when needed, and being smart about that play. There's a lot more to it than that. And yeah, the question always goes back, who would you have? And I think anyone who's listening to this, who would you have? Who would you pick if not Joe Root to captain the side at the moment? Is there any suggestions? Are there any people out there that would benefit the team?
One I've heard people mention is Joss Butler, but he's barely clinging onto his own place at the moment, let alone anything else. I think he's there because Ben Foakes, who is another keeper who appears to have run over somebody's cat and annoyed the England selectors, because he just doesn't get picked despite being the best keeper and having a decent test average for England. He just doesn't get picked ever. So don't know what he's done to offend somebody, but it's a tough one.
Well, let's see. I mean, it's not looking too good at the moment.
Well, yeah, so just to where we are on the second test. So there's been 3 changes. So we brought in Ollie Pope for Johnny Bairstow, which was just a straight up swap, which is good. I think it's probably what should have been done from the outset, but I think Pope was ill in the first test. And then we've got 2 enforced changes. So Rory Burns has dropped out, which is unfortunate, because he was one of the batsmen who did look in form. And Zach Crawley has been brought in for him, and Dominic Bess has been brought in. He's the leg spinner, and he has been brought in for Jofra Archer, who's injured. So England are actually playing with a spinner this time, which is something, because we played without a spinner in the last match, which I always think is crazy. So we'll see how that goes, but it didn't start particularly well today. So Crawley went for 4, Dom Sibley hung around for a little bit longer, 34, Denley on 38, Root on 35, and England are 162 for 4 as we speak. So again, starts, but nobody's going on and getting those big scores, and that's the problem. Really, that is the problem.
We got a few people in there yet. He might be able to at least get us comfortably over that 250, kind of 250, 280 mark. See if we can creep towards that 3. Yeah,
and again, I think that's the problem is England just don't get big scores anymore. They don't get big runs. And when you see when Australia and New Zealand, that Australia-New Zealand game, Australia got 400 and odd, and New Zealand collapsed to 180, it puts pressure on. If you go out first, bat first, get score of 4 over 400, the pressure's on the other team straight away, and they start making mistakes. You see it so often. But in 46 tests since Joe Root took over as captain, we've made over 400 just 5 times.
Wow.
In four, that's less than 10%. No, it's not slightly more than 10%, but ignore my maths. But yeah, that's not what you need. You should be looking to get that.
Yeah.
Certainly every other test.
It's a test. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
That's what you think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of a test
400.
score.
You think, 400. Yeah, you're doing all right. That's fine. And you see, like in the India South Africa series a little while ago, India were getting scores of like 600, and that just puts the game beyond teams straight away.
Yeah.
But England just don't do that. The other interesting stat I did have on this England team is this is the first ever England Test team to have 4 players under the age of 23.
Oh.
Which I thought was an interesting stat. So maybe that's a sign that we have youthful, inexperienced, and that's
not long enough in the tooth to hold it down and to remain stoic at the crease. Maybe. Yeah. Possibly. I mean, patience does come with age and wisdom, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, and we'll see where we get to, and we'll see what we are. We've got Stokes and Pope in at the moment. Stokes is looking pretty solidly set. Yeah. Ollie Pope, I think, is a great player. He's not played much, but I think he's going to be in the England team for a long time to come. I think he's a really talented natural batsman. So it'll be good to see what they do. But yeah, we will. We're sounding. I'm quite.
It's very melancholy.
Down. It is very melancholy today.
It's quite a melancholy, and I think it's only because we want England to do so well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the South Africa tour, I was really kind of excited about, looking for on the back of the Ashes a bit of revitalised energy, new coaches, going back over to New Zealand to whoop them again, and then into South Africa. And I think there's been loads of little niggles here and there. But it's a load of Englishmen in a hot country over the winter period. I'm happy to make excuses for them and to.
Oh dear, yeah. So we'll see where we get to. And as I said, this South Africa team does look vulnerable. Their batting lineup is shaky.
Yeah.
And if England get a bit of a bowling plan together and get into this team, then
that De Kock dude's got.
De Kock is a good player. De Kock's a really good player.
He's got some venom. He's got some fight. I really I respect that in a player when you see a batsman dig in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's not that they don't have some talented players there.
No,
but they should be there for the taking. They should be. England should be winning this if they have loftier aims to get up that Test Championship.
We'll get there. We'll see how it goes today, and we will no doubt revisit this next Friday for our anniversary
podcast. We will. Yes, we will indeed. Whew, there we are. Sorry, I feel like that's I've got that out of my system now.
That's
I needed that. I needed to
just vent that off.
And there we are. So, do you want the topic?
Let's do the topic. I'm excited.
So the topic is, there's been a proposal put forward which the ECB, the England Wales Cricket Board, have what do they say? Cautiously backed, and this is a proposal to change all Test matches so that they no longer last 5 days, that they now last 4 days.
Right. Okay.
And not 5 days.
Okay.
What's your instinctive reaction to that? Because there have been mixed reports, depending on who you talk to. People who are close to the ECB have been supporting it. Everybody else has been fairly disparaging of it. What's your take?
So my instinctual response and thought on it is, to be honest, I don't know if it matters either way, and that's because if it was limited to 4 days, what would the cons of that be?
The cons of that would be that you wouldn't get as many games finished, so you get more draws. For example, in the Ashes, I think did 4 of the 5 games go to the 5th day in the Ashes last year? Certainly 3 of them did.
Yeah, okay.
You wouldn't have had the Ben Stokes heroics at Headingley.
Okay.
The game would have just been called a draw. In 2019, of all the test matches played, I think it's 2019. No, in fact, no, it's not. Sorry, ignore me. From 2010 onwards, I think all the test matches played, 2/3 of them went to a final day, went to a fifth day.
Okay.
So you would get 2/3 of tests then being drawn.
So what are the benefits? Why are the ECB putting this forward then?
Because apparently it makes their scheduling easier, and it takes the burden off the players.
Takes the burden off the players.
Yeah, because they don't have to play as long.
To play the game that they love.
Yeah, exactly.
For longer. That I don't get.
No.
Scheduling.
So what they've said is that at the moment a day's play is 90 overs.
Yep.
They said they'd extend that to 98 overs and crunch that into 4 days. So you'd still lose quite a lot of you'd lose about 60 overs overall.
Yeah.
The problem being that very rarely do 90 overs actually get bowled, because either you lose a bit to the weather or it gets dark in the evening so you can't play.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So you don't actually often get. So the chances of getting 98 overs actually played is minimal to nil.
Yeah.
So you're just losing playing time. And yeah, I don't see it. Sort the schedule out a bit more, and have there's other ways to sort your schedule out. Cutting out some of these.
Whose schedule?
Well, the players' schedule. So like the Australia tour of England, you'd have, might have 5 T20s and 3 one-day internationals and then 5 test matches. That is a lot of cricket to try and fit in over, except for a week. I'd personally cut out some of the ODIs and T20s. I don't care about those so much. And I know people like them because they make money, but cut them out and get the tests. The tests are what people care about. Tests are what people remember.
With the ECB behind, the 100, is there this shift?
The domestic schedule in England is a flipping nightmare at the moment anyway.
Is there a shift in what the ECB are trying to do here from Test cricket?
Well, this is going to go wider, so this wouldn't just be the ECB doing this, so it would be all tests.
But they're backing it.
But they have cautiously backed it.
Cautiously backed.
Yeah, they said that, classic English phrase, isn't it? Like, oh, well, yes, we agree with this, but until everyone else disagrees with it, and then we might change our mind, basically.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't get the benefits. I don't see it.
I think you'd miss out on. You made some good points there already, just about like the drama at Headingley and all that kind of stuff, and going down to the final day just adds to the spirit and the drama that is cricket. It's an up and down. It's not just a game of two halves like in football. It is a war. It is an up and down struggle.
That's it. And maybe the ECB are backing it because England keep losing inside 4 days anyway. But just because England suck, there shouldn't be a reason to change how tests are played. And it's not. And it's not. Sorry.
Just cut them short.
Just cut them short. Stop it! We're already dead. Yeah.
Just get them out of there.
Yeah. But yeah, and some of the people who are like backing this are like, oh well, this is the way the game's going, and I'm not like some of the arguments for it have been, oh well, it's tradition that it should always be 5. I'm not about tradition. I just want more Test cricket. Yeah. And therefore, if a way of getting more Test cricket is to keep it at 5 days, keep it to 5 days.
The game is done when it's done, and and if you need that day, you need that day.
I mean, to be honest, I'd bring back timeless tests personally, but I'd just be out there all the time playing, and that's my feeling on it. But the excitement you can get in a final day's play is just But
it'd be interesting to hear not specifically what cricketers think, because as far as I'm concerned, if your profession is to do the sport that you want, I would expect them to be like, whatever, scheduling or not. If we're playing cricket, we're playing to win, and so if we need that day, we need that day.
Yeah.
And if scheduling and people that work in the industry and around cricket, I'd be interested to hear a much more kind of a richer kind of profile of what these people are saying. But the most important is, if we're talking about scheduling being one of the things, is what's the populace kind of saying? Is it that people get to book their flights when they go out to other nations? Does it make it easier for them? Does it make it easier for the venues and all that kind of stuff to do it?
It makes it cheaper for the venues because venues don't have to book people to work 5 days, like security, hospitality staff, and then basically not get any money on a 5th day if the test has finished inside 4 days. So it makes it cheaper for the venues.
But that's not good enough. That to me is not good enough reason to impact on the sport itself.
Agreed.
So if the people are saying, no, we want it on 4 days,
widely have been absolutely condemning this and saying, no, we don't want this, we want 5 days.
So this is what I think. This is, if the ECB are doing it for the best interest of the venues and the cricketers, which I don't think. But it might have something to do with it, true. But I think, if the fans are all saying, have the 5th day, and if they need to up ticket prices, like a tenner or a fiver, just do that.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see why you would do that. The fact is that Test cricket is the pinnacle. I mean, if you think. I think back to like the iconic series that England have played in recent years. Even I look back to like 2005. I can tell you what happened in the Test series. Can't tell you anything that happened in the ODI series. I couldn't tell you what happened in the ODI series if the Ashes just gone. Genuinely couldn't tell you what score was there at all. But so I would cut out more of the ODIs and more of the T20s than the Test. Don't cut down on Test days to save scheduling. Get more tests in and scrap some of the other stuff. But that's just
Test matches for me are like they're the zenith of reflection of what cricket is about. It's about tenacity. It's about digging in. It's about being in the long haul. It's like up there. And I think we've covered some elements of this in other podcasts about people's change in mentality. We've got a shorter attention span apparently than the older generations, which is why maybe we're turning more towards the shorter forms of the game. But I don't think. But I don't think we should water down our jewel of. We should respect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And put more effort into it, not just start kind of reducing it because it makes. The bartender's life a bit easier, and the bouncer. I'd pay him some more. I'd be happier paying an extra tenner.
Yep.
Going to a test, a test match per day.
Yep.
Then I'm sure a lot of people would feel the same. Wouldn't bother me.
Yep.
It's like a once. We do it kind of once a year.
Yeah.
If we were there for the 5th day. If not, we get our money back, but Yeah,
exactly. No, totally with you. So, there we are. Let us know what you think on Twitter. We are at Wrong End Podcast. Do get in touch. We might stick a poll up, see what people think. I think it's going to be our first 100% poll, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But you never know. Are you for or against 4-day tests? But we'll see. You never know. People might secretly love it, but I don't think so.
I reckon it'll be 2080.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon about 20.
You're just going to vote. You're going to vote for it, aren't you? Just so you can even it up the poll.
No. I reckon there'll be cricket fans out there that probably work in the trade. Like my cousin works at Lord's, and
you did not tell me this.
Yeah. And
so we're getting in for free in next
the
next
thing
year.
Is, she loves it. She absolutely loves it, and the atmosphere and everything else. But she's also in the kind of hospitality trade area, which I've worked on, and she just gets a bit kind of much. So and because she's a cricket fan as well, I bet there's people that possibly work in the industry and even volunteer at Lord's and do all those things that are probably like, oh, that'd be nice actually, where we know it's just 4 days only, and we're not on call. So I do get that. It'd be interesting to see if any of you who are listening are working in the trade. That would be interesting to hear what their thoughts are on that.
Yep.
Because I reckon it'd be a bit more mixed than just fans of cricket.
Well, let's try and find out. Yeah, but that's the proposal anyway. But that's not. It's not due to come in. It's not been agreed or anything yet. But it's just what they're talking about. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Is it Whyyysssaat time?
I think it is Whyyysssaat time.
Yes.
Whyyysssaat. We really need a little jingle for
I know.
We need to get some jingles. Maybe that's going to be my New Year's resolution for the podcast.
Jingles.
We're going to get some more jingles, so we're going to get little
effects.
sound effects and jingles that we can start
Totally
putting in.
there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
he's got a wiki page up.
I have.
He's got a wiki page up.
So, I have Whyyysssaat. So why is it, Zach? So you're walking out to bat and you're looking at your field.
Yeah.
And why is it that when you get 9 fielders apart from your wicketkeeper and your bowler?
Yeah.
Why is it that so often you see 5, 6 of them stood in a row just behind your wicket?
Okay. So
basically, in the slips. If you don't know what a slip is, then I'm sure we probably covered it and seemingly stumped at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think we just did fielding positions.
Yeah, we did
early on.
We did a run of fielding positions for a while, didn't
Yeah.
we? But so basically, why do you get like 5 or 6? Why do you get half, if not more, of your fielders stood in a long line, just not too far away from batsmen when there's the whole of the field to cover? What is going on?
So that is, and I'm not going to explain this very, very well. I'm sure you will explain it better, but I'm going to give it a crack. Is that so? When you have multiple slips,
it's called the slip corden.
The slip corden,
yeah,
and your 45 and your gully, and all of those people out there doing, they all seem to be like only arm's length away from each other.
Yeah,
it's because usually the plan from the fielding captain side is to try and get an edge. So they want the bowler to go just ever so slightly off stump, probably out swinging, and they want the batsman to have a go, edge it, and they want to get kind of caught out.
So they're basically what they're attempting to do. And you're spot on, of course. Is that? I mean, and it is. It's having a plan of how you're going to get the guy out, and the plan is that you're going to bowl generally quickly when you've got a big line of slips, and you're going to try and get the batsman to sort of play a shot and try and sort of drive it, usually like a cover drive. So they're going to dangle that ball out there, and your eyes are going to light up as they do.
Well,
you're personally, and then you're going to like really try and go hard at the ball. And their plan is that you're not going to quite connect with it, and it's going to
swing out slightly.
Yeah, it's going to swing out slightly, come off the edge of your bat, and then head towards the slips.
Yep.
So why not just have one guy there?
Well, now I don't know, so you're going to clarify this.
I am.
But I would imagine that at the speed that the ball is going and the fineness of a ball hitting a bat, there is multiple and very unpredictable angles for the ball to be going, and it would be going at a reasonable pace.
Precisely that. Oh. Absolutely spot on. Yeah. So basically, it's going that quickly. Fielders are like fielding at slip is you're relatively close.
Yeah.
You're not going to have time to move and react. Literally, it's quite an instinctive place to field. So it really is. The ball's coming towards you. You've just got to make that quick move, and you haven't got time to move your feet.
Yeah.
If you see them, they'll all stand with the legs quite far apart.
Yeah.
Because that leg gives them the base that they can move to as many places as they can wherever the ball's going.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got time to move their feet.
No.
So it's kind of just and you've just got to try and go get move on instinct and get it wherever you can, and so that is Whyyysssaat.
That's why
the plan.
You get that line of people in the back there,
and it depends on how much of the ball you hit. If you just get a really really tight little nick on it, it's probably going to go to the keeper on the first slip. If you hit maybe half the ball or slightly less than half the ball, it's going to go much wider, so maybe to like 5th or 6th slip, and that's why you have that corden, just to make sure any little edge you get on that, they're going to gobble them up.
That's it. And I thought they just kind of beforehand, they all just kind of, the more people that they had stand around there, the more people they were just constantly hurling abuse at the batsman.
I mean, that might be true as well. I'm not gonna, that might be
just
true.
A constant choir of sledging going up and down the slips just for this poor guy.
I mean, there's an element of it that is an intimidating sight when you go out and you've got 4 slips in a gully that's intimidating. You've got a wicketkeeper there as well. You can have 5 or 6 people quite close to you.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like a silly point.
They say,
it's a psychological thing.
It's such a psychological, because it closes you up as a batsman. And I think even knowing that those slips are there, you thinking about that plan makes you more anxious to make a foolish shot, actually. Sometimes trying to suspect what the plan is and know what the plan is isn't that helpful. Especially for someone like me, because I would still swing just to try and prove them wrong.
You would.
You're not edging me.
You take that as a challenge, wouldn't you? You take it as a challenge.
You're not edging me.
I'm having this. I'm having this. I'll show you. Oh dear. Yeah. So that's why it's that. That's why they all stand in a line, not too far away from the batsman, and leave a whole bunch of the other. And often what you'll see is they won't put any fielders in the covers. So the covers is basically, if you're going to do a drive. They won't put any fielders there at all to encourage you to try and hit that shot, because if you get that slightly wrong, you're going to edge it and you're probably going to be out. So although it might give away a few runs, you might get 2 or 3 boundaries and be like, oh yeah, I'm in now, this is it, I'm going. Then they're going to nick you off the next ball, and then you're done. So that's why they'll often do that as a combination. They won't have anyone in the covers to try and encourage you to play that shot.
That is interesting.
And then they'll have the slips in there to
that's a good why is that?
Yeah.
That is a good one.
I've had all Christmas to think of that, so it should have been. Right. I think we should wrap up for today.
I think so.
We will be back next Friday with our anniversary show.
Woo-woo.
I've no idea what we're going to do for the anniversary show yet. We were talking about little montage clips of my abuse of Joe Denley, but that could last a full hour in itself, couldn't it, really? So.
Literally. Maybe just every single time we've mentioned Joe Denley.
He must be our most mentioned player.
I think he is. I think he actually is.
Fringe England player. It's ridiculous, really.
I actually think he probably is the most mentioned player.
Yeah. Just to say, since we have been recording as well, Ollie Pope has got himself in. He got 21 off 51 balls, and Ben Stokes is looking good. He's just hit 6, and he's up to 47 off 75. So maybe there is reasons to be a bit more hopeful and optimistic. Maybe Pope and Stokes are going to take our team to the next level, and let's hope. Stokes seems to be accelerating the runs a bit now, so
we got this.
Yeah, we'll go for it.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. If you do want to get in touch about anything, to be honest, anything we should be doing in our next anniversary show, anything about 4-day tests, or just anything about cricket in general, if you want to come on and have a chat with us, let us know. We haven't done that for a while.
No, we haven't.
So, so you can get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at Wrong End Podcast. You can also email us, wrongendandstick@hotmail.com.
Nice.
Thanks very much for listening, and we will be back
next week for our anniversary.
Next Friday for our anniversary show.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.